the personal part of it equaled the music, and the music equaled this relationship and brotherhood.
On Cripple Creek, and she sends me if I spring a leak, and she mends me.
Levon Helm in the band. Your book seems almost to be a love story in a way to him, because he...
Yeah.
Before his death, Robbie Robertson opened up about one of rock history's most talked about and long-running feuds, his complex relationship with Levon Helm. This revelation from the man behind so many of the band's unforgettable hits took many by surprise and offered a deep insight into their turbulent history. So, let's get into the shocking truth Robbie Robertson reveals about Levon Helm before his death. Robbie Robertson and Levon Helm's story is like a classic rock ballad, full of highs and lows, harmony and discord. Their journey began in the 1960s when they, along with Rick Danko, Richard Manuel, and Garth Hudson, formed the band. This group would go on to change the face of music, with its unique mix of rock, folk, and Americana. The story of the band started when Robertson, a Canadian guitarist and songwriter, and Helm, a Southern drummer and singer from Arkansas, met up with Danko, Manuel, and Hudson. They were all talented musicians with distinct styles, but when they joined forces, something magical happened.
I'm glad to pay those union dues. Just don't judge me by my shoes.
They didn't just create music. They crafted a fresh sound yet deeply rooted in American traditions. The band started as a group called the Hawks. They were the backup band for a rockabilly singer named Ronnie Hawkins. Levon Helm joined the group in 1957 when he was still in high school. By 1958, he was playing drums for them full-time. Another member, Stan Celeste, was also part of the group at that time. Ronnie Hawkins was really popular in Toronto and nearby Hamilton. In late 1963, the Hawks left Ronnie Hawkins because they wanted to play their own music instead of Hawkins's songs and were tired of his strict rules. Robbie Robertson later said that Hawkins had trained them so well that they needed to move on and try their own thing.
Come on, Robbie, let's take a little walk. Tell me, who do you love? Who do you love?
The group was known as the Levon Helm Sextet for a short time, with a sax player named Jerry Penfound. After Penfound left, they became Levon and the Hawks. In 1965, they released a single under the name The Canadian Squires. Later, in 1965, Bob Dylan hired the Hawks to join his U.S. tour. Levon Helm and Robbie Robertson told Dylan they would join him if he hired all of the Hawks. Dylan agreed, and they went on tour with him. This was a big opportunity for them to reach more people. They started to be known as the band, because they were always the band behind other singers. Dylan's move from folk to rock music was controversial then, but the band helped smooth the transition. They played with such energy and authenticity that they quickly gained a reputation as one of the best live bands around. In 1967, they moved to Saugerties, New York, with Dylan and made some informal recordings. In 1968, the band released their self-titled debut album, often called The Band. This album was revolutionary. It wasn't just about the individual tracks, but about a cohesive, full-bodied sound that felt timeless. Songs like The Weight, I Shall Be Released, and Chest Fever became instant classics. The Weight, in particular, stands out with its memorable lyrics and soulful feel.
Take a load off Fanny. Take a load for free.
The song tells a story of a journey and encounters with various characters, capturing the essence of their unique style. Their music was different from what was popular at the time. They played songs about old America and used a mix of styles, Robbie Robertson wrote most of their songs, and Levon Helm was known for his strong drumming and vocals. The band's next album, Stage Fright, 1970, continued to build on their success. The album had a raw, emotional edge, and songs like The Shape I'm In and Stage Fright showed their struggles.
It'll drive me crazy. Oh, you don't know the shape I'm in.
Robertson's songwriting and Helm's distinctive voice combined to create music that resonated deeply with fans. The blend of Robertson's poetic lyrics and Helm's powerful delivery made their music feel personal and universal. In the early 1970s, the band went through some ups and downs. Their next album, Cahoots, was recorded at Bearsville Studios, a new facility built by their manager, Albert Grossman. It came out in October 1971, but didn't get great reviews. One of the album's highlights was their cover of Bob Dylan's When I Paint My Masterpiece. This happened because Dylan visited Robertson's home while they were recording Cahoots. Another notable track from Cahoots was Life is a Carnival. This song featured lively horn sections arranged by Alan Toussaint. It became a favorite in their live performances and was the only track from Cahoots they kept playing until their final concert.
Life is a carnival, believe it or not.
Which was captured in The Last Waltz. Despite the mixed reception of Cahoots, the band continued to tour in 1970 and 1971. Their live performances were showcased in the double album Rock of Ages, recorded during concerts at the Academy of Music in New York City from December 28th to 31st, 1971. This album was released in 1972. After these shows, the band took a break from performing. They returned to the stage on July 28, 1973, for the Summer Jam at Watkins Glen, which also featured the Allman Brothers Band and the Grateful Dead. This festival set a record for pop festival attendance with over 600,000 people. In October 1973, they released Moondog Matinee, an album of cover songs. This album, which featured rock and roll classics from the 1950s and 1960s, they continued to rise in popularity, and their music and performances only got better. The Last Waltz, 1978, was their final performance as a group and was later turned into a legendary film directed by Martin Scorsese.
And then you throw Martin Scorsese in there as well for good measure.
And then we wanted Marty to be able to look at this and give us a fresh eye and help us,
This concert was a star-studded affair with guest appearances from Eric Clapton, Neil Young, and Joni Mitchell, among others. It was a fitting farewell to a band that had left an indelible mark on rock music. But behind the scenes, not everything was as harmonious as their music. The band's success came with its own set of challenges. As time went on, the relationships within the band became strained. The pressures of fame, personal struggles, and creative differences started to take their toll. Robertson and Helm, who had once been like brothers, began to grow apart. The first cracks appeared when the band decided to stop touring. Robertson, as the primary songwriter, wanted to continue pushing forward and exploring new musical ideas. Helm, on the other hand, felt frustrated and left out. He was more interested in staying connected to the roots of their music and wasn't as keen on the new direction Robertson was pursuing. Their relationship further deteriorated when Robertson left the band in 1976 after their farewell concert. Helm was particularly hurt by Robertson's departure. To Helm, it felt like Robertson had abandoned the band and left them to deal with the aftermath of their success without him. This feeling of betrayal was compounded by the financial and personal troubles that Helm faced in the years that followed. The situation worsened when Helm released his memoir, This Wheel's on Fire, 1993. In the book, Helm was candid about his grievances with Robertson. He criticized Robertson's role in the band and his handling of their finances. This book opened old wounds and led to a public feud. Robertson was hurt by Helm's criticisms and felt that his former bandmate had misrepresented their shared history. Helm feels Robertson was unfair when it came to sharing money. He believes Robertson made more from the band's songs than he should have. Helm also complains that Robertson didn't treat the other band members well. Helm's book clearly states he was frustrated with Robertson's actions and how they affected the band. In an interview, Robbie Robertson talked about his relationship with Levon Helm, showing both nostalgia and complexity. Robertson started by saying how close they were.
The relationship obviously was close. Is it too close to describe it as he became a brother to you?
No, he was the closest thing in my life I've ever had to a brother.
Describing Helm as the closest thing in my life I've ever had to a brother. You can sense how their bond went beyond just working together. It was like family. Robertson talked about how their personal connection was key to their musical success. He mentioned the documentary Once Were Brothers, saying it highlighted how their friendship was as important as their music. Their close relationship helped them make groundbreaking music.
You're quite the storyteller, and now you've written the story of your life. You write about how your best friend, Levon Helm, in the band. Your book seems almost to be a love story in a way.
He acknowledged that while he still had positive feelings about their time together, Helm faced tough times after the band broke up. Helm struggled with health and financial issues, which put a strain on their relationship. Robertson noted that Helm's hardships led to anger directed at him.
He got very ill, and if that happened to me, I might have got bitter too.
Helm's anger was surprising to Robertson, especially since they had never fought during their time together. Robertson said, "For all the years we were together, we never had a crossword ever about anything." The sudden change from close friends to adversaries was jarring for Robertson. Reflecting on their time together, Robertson chose to focus on the positive. He said he was caught up in the magnificence of the journey that we were on together and celebrated the amazing experiences they shared and the music they made. For Robertson, the good memories and their musical achievements were more important than the later conflicts. Robertson's aimed to move past bitterness and cherish their shared history. He expressed sadness for Helm's struggles, but also acknowledged that he couldn't change the past. "I was sad for Levon that he had to go there, and I felt terrible for him, but I couldn't fix it," he said.
I was sad for Levon that he had to go there.
Robbie Robertson also shared stories about how his early life experiences and how family background shaped his career and outlook on life. Robertson started by talking about a tough time in his childhood. His parents were having a rough patch, and his father, Jim Robertson, wasn't exactly the most loving or supportive figure. The real twist came when his mother sat him down and dropped a bombshell. She told him that Jim wasn't his real father.
She said to me, "Sit down, I need to tell you something. And maybe I should have told you this before, but he's not your real father."
Instead, his biological father was a Hebrew gangster named Alexander Kleggerman, who had been murdered before Robertson was born. This revelation was shocking for Robertson, who had never imagined his family story was so complicated. His mother introduced him to his real father's relatives, Nadie and Maury Kleggerman. These relatives brought Robertson into their world with a lot of warmth and affection. They helped him understand a part of his heritage he didn't know much about. It was through these connections that Robertson began to understand some of the feelings and ambitions that had always stirred inside him. His new family was not only welcoming, but also influential in shaping his perspective. They understood his vision and ambition, especially when he shared his musical dreams with them. When I told the Kleggermans I had musical ambitions, they were like, "Rock and roll. You don't want to be in furs and diamonds. You want to be in there," Robertson recounted, showing how his relatives embraced his passion for music, even if they didn't fully understand it at first. Robertson's musical journey started in Toronto, where his mother was from 6 Nations. This constant exposure to music and storytelling deeply influenced Robertson. He was inspired by the vibrant, creative environment and wanted to be part of it. His family's support and enthusiasm for music played a big role in shaping his own musical ambitions. Another significant influence on Robertson was the storytelling tradition he experienced growing up. He spoke about how the elders in his family had a way of telling stories that gave him chills.
I said to my mom, when I grow up, I hope I can tell stories like that. And, like moms do, she said, "Oh, I'm sure you will."
Their ability to captivate and move him made Robertson want to learn how to tell stories himself. It wasn't just about music. It was about being part of a rich tradition of storytelling that he found deeply inspiring. In his later years, Robertson worked on a new record that he described as unlike anything he had done before. "I know it sounds good because we worked so hard," he said, referring to the effort he and his team put into the project. Robertson was excited about the fresh approach they took with this album, emphasizing how it felt like a completely new experience. They had reimagined the music, experimenting with the sound, and how the instruments were used. "We took a lot of liberty with the music, too, the way the instruments are used," he explained. This creative freedom made the project feel special and new to him. Robertson also shared a funny story from a photo shoot with Richard Avatar. During the shoot, Avatar used a flash that temporarily blinded everyone. Despite the unexpected turn of events, Avatar decided to capture the moment. He said, "Whoa, wait a minute, I want to take a picture of that," Robertson recalled. Avatar instructed everyone to close their eyes when the flash went off, resulting in a memorable photo that added a touch of humor to the session.
So he was setting up, he arranged us all in this order like this, and then he was setting up, and he set off his flap, and it made everybody blink.
On March 24, 1968, Robbie Robertson married Dominique Bourgeois, a Canadian journalist. The couple had 3 children together, 2 daughters and a son named Sebastian. However, their marriage ended in November 2003. Robertson found love again and married Janet Zuccarini on March 12, 2023. Zuccarini, a Canadian entrepreneur, restaurateur, and judge on Top Chef Canada, had been Robertson's girlfriend for 4 years before their marriage. Janet shared the news of their wedding on her Instagram account, marking a new chapter in Robertson's life. Robertson was also known for his charitable work. He was a member of the Canadian charity Artists Against Racism, reflecting his commitment to social issues beyond his music career. Sadly, Robertson's life came to an end on August 9, 2023. He passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 80, after a year-long battle with prostate cancer. His manager, Jared Levine, shared that Robertson was surrounded by his family, including both Janet Zuccarini and Dominique Robertson, at the time of his death. In lieu of flowers, the family requested donations be made to the 6 Nations of the Grand River, honoring Robertson's connections and contributions. To celebrate Robertson's life and career, director Martin Scorsese organized a tribute concert in Los Angeles in November 2023. The event saw notable figures like Joni Mitchell, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Lily Gladstone come together to pay their respects. Robertson's reflections give us a peek into his rich and complex life. He faced many challenges in his early years, but went on to achieve great things creatively. Robertson's ability to mix his personal history with his creative work makes his story both unique and inspiring. When he looked back on his life, Robertson chose to celebrate the positive moments and the amazing music he created. Do you think Robertson and Levon could have a patch-up? Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.